Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. This is Boisterous coming to you with some, I don't know what league this game is from because nobody actually has posted on the Battle.net forum and nobody actually told me in the email what league it is from. So I'm just going to cold cast the entire game and then at the end of it, just guess what league it's from and then post that in the video. So whatever league I think this is from is in the title. Yeah, that's right, that's right. So just imagine me saying that league right now. Okay, now that you've done that, we do have Greengimp spawning up here in the top left-hand corner as the red Zerg. Down here in the bottom left-hand corner, or the bottom right-hand corner, we have PdOe as the blue Zerg. So it is going to be a ZVZ. It would appear that Greengimp was random, and he is not going to be the manor man that tells his opponent. Oh no, he is. He's going to be the manor man. What a good manor man. Well, already off to a great start here on Ohana. We do have PdOe actually with the extremely early scout. Probably... What? No? That's not right. It says random. Greengimp. I'm not sure if you know that. It says random. That's no lie. Unless, of course, he was actually... he actually picked Zerg. In which case, yeah, that would tell him. So I'm guessing he actually picked Zerg and PdOe just didn't pay attention at all during the loading screen, which is something you should never do. Well, it looks like PdOe is actually not going to be going for my trademark cheese, which is, of course, what I like to call the strong arm Zerg, where you go for a 10 pool, and then you build 3 Zerglings, and you pull 2 drones with your, 2 to 3 drones with your units, and you build spine crawlers, and then you just protect them as well as you can with the Zerglings until they get up. It's like literally I have a couple of recordings of games about it. It's one of the funniest cheeses I think I've ever come up with. Just because the opponent has like no recourse to it because they need to kill 2 spine crawlers building on their lands, and they also need to try to minimize the damage that 6 Zerglings are doing. So anyone below like diamond level just has no clue what's going on and just ends up losing, and it's hilarious. It's a great cheese. I hate myself whenever I do it, which I think is like the trademark of a great cheese. I think that's when you know you're doing it right. It's when you're like, I am a horrible, horrible person. This is no joke, people. I am an awful person. Anyway, we do have Greengimp going for the extremely early hatchery here on Ohana, which is not an awful idea. The rush distances on this map are fairly long. It takes quite a while for Zerglings to get across the map, and with the current state of ZVZ and how it's going with most players, I can definitely see this happening more and more often when players are going to just go for macro games. Because honestly, that kind of Zergling, the very early Zergling pressure is falling off the map in almost every league, and people are learning how to deal with it better and better with drones, unless of course you bring 2 drones and make spine crawlers. Because, you know, again, one of the funniest strategies ever. If you play Zerg, or even if you don't play Zerg, it's really easy. Just get into a ZVZ and just do that. It's great. It's hilarious. You will feel so bad about yourself, but at the same time, you'll feel so awesome about yourself. It looks like we do have the evolution chamber coming up for PdOe, so we might see a bit of some early upgrades coming out, which is interesting. People don't usually do that, and in fact, he is going for quite a few Zerglings at this point. He's moving up to 10 Zerglings, so we might actually see some early pressure coming out from PdOe as soon as this level 1 attack starts. And in fact, I would be very surprised if we didn't at this point. He does not currently have speed on the way, but I would be surprised to not see that coming out reasonably soon. It looks like he does have the queen starting to spread out the creep. This is interesting. This is an interesting strategy because it's a very late kind of Zergling attack. It's weird. It's weird. You almost never go for Zergling attacks this late because Greengimp, he's gonna be ready for it. He's probably gonna have speed of his own by the time these Zerglings hit the front, if he starts upgrading it as soon as he gets 100 gas. He's gonna have 2 spine crawlers, which is good. It looks like the baneling nest is coming down for PdOe, which is going to help him do more damage with this, but it's gonna be awkward. It looks like, oh yep, there are a lot of Zerglings that are now moving into the base, but of course with these 2 spine crawlers it should be a reasonably good defense. There is going to be the run by into the main base, which is a little bit annoying. He should definitely pull back all of his drones to the natural. This is not a spot he really wants to be in at this point. It looks like they are going to be falling back, and they are going to be perhaps attacking a little bit. There we go. We have a nice pin actually going down on the Zerglings, and minimal damages are going to be done to the drones. If we look at the drone loss count, it's really only 4 drones so far, which is very cost efficient for this harassment, because PdOe spent, he had what? I think it was somewhere around 20 Zerglings, so he lost 10 drones that could have existed to that harassment. And then Greengimp only lost 5. And he also has his natural up. He has 7 drones on the way. He is just cranking out those drones. Now, of course, PdOe is now getting speed Zerglings, and speed Zerglings are much more efficient when it comes to dealing damage when it comes to dealing economic damage. So it is going to be a little bit more awkward for Greengimp to defend this one. It looks like the Roachborn is now finally coming out, so we are going to see Roaches for Greengimp, which should make this a lot easier of a defense to go for. I'm surprised he didn't drop his queens down on the ramp, because queens on the ramp prevent a lot of damage that's going to be going down here. However, with speeded Zerglings, it's going to be rough. Alright, there we go. He does have the drones hold positioning on the ramp, which is a good idea. The cancel does go down on the Roachborn, which is a little bit annoying. The Zerglings are now escaping down the ramp, and the queen gets sniped, which is a little bit on the bad side. Not awful, though. I mean, it's still... I would still say that PdOe has lost more to this harassment than he's actually been able to gain. All these defenses have been reasonable for Greengimp. I mean, none of them have been perfect by a long shot. However, none of them have been awful or bad, or really in any way bad. I mean, he's done reasonable on all accounts. I'm surprised to see him not going for quite so many Zerglings. There we go. We have actually 10 drones on the way. So Greengimp still wanting to go into a very heavy economic game, which is kind of a surprise considering how much pressure his opponent is putting on him. I would have expected way more Zerglings at this point, if not just to wall off the ramps so that the spine crawlers can get their damage done. Now, of course, with 4 spine crawlers here, that's going to be quite a few spine crawlers able to get their damage done, especially if he manages to get roaches out, because 2 roaches will be able to hold this ramp forever against Zerglings, especially with these spine crawlers in the position that they're in. In fact, even if you just take roaches and you kind of put them in between each of these spine crawlers, there's going to be no way for an opposing Zerg player to break up through this. They're just going to take way too much damage trying to do it. And it looks like we have quite a few Banelings. Oh, that's a lot of Banelings. That's a lot of Banelings. And we have the Zerglings being slightly suicidal. There we go. We have a nice snipe going down on the 1 Baneling. Now, of course, none of these Banelings are speeded, which is not the best situation ever. They are going to be going for the bust, and oh my god, Banelings do a surprisingly high amount of damage to buildings, but still not enough to actually do anything worth mentioning. Because that was a lot of Banelings. That was a lot of minerals and Banelings, and they just killed off 3 spine crawlers. You know, that was still very much not cost efficient for PdOe, and Greengimp is just being almost handed this game on a silver platter with all of this harassment that's been coming out of PdOe. And currently, my current guess for this game is gold. Gold League. Gold to platinum. Because they both have macro that's better than the average silver or bronze player. Neither of them are missing too many injects. They're missing a few, but they're not like bleeding injects. And the Greengimp's defenses kind of look like a Gold League player. It's a little bit of an overcommitment to spine crawlers. Not getting the Zergling speed was a bit foolish. Not pulling his drones in a situation like this is very foolish. And not sending, you know, his roaches up to attack the Zerglings, also very much Gold League play. We do have PdOe finally doing a reasonable amount of damage with these Zerglings, but still nothing to write home about. I mean, 17 drones over 3 waves of attack. That's not a whole lot, especially when you consider the fact of how many drones you're losing just by attacking like that. In fact, if we look at the income, Greengimp, after losing 17 workers, is still ahead by 2. Actually, no, 21 workers. He has lost half his workers, essentially, because he has 21 and he's lost 21. And he's still ahead on harvesters, and that is really the kind of the story of this game. It looks like we do have 7 spine crawlers on the way for PdOe. That's a little bit of an overreaction to just seeing roaches. However, both players are just going to be turtling at this point, because, I mean, why not, right? Fuck it. Oh, wow, that's a strategy you can do in a situation like this. Not a good strategy by a long shot, but it's a strategy. The 2 Evo chambers for Greengimp are coming up, and I'm rapidly starting to think this game might actually be Silver League. Although this is probably something I would do in gold to try to defend against any massive amount of damage. And now my dog is barking in the background. There's somebody outside that's probably going to be ringing the doorbell and interrupting this commentary, but I'm not even gonna, I'm just gonna ignore them. I'm gonna pretend I don't exist. I'm gonna pretend they don't exist. I'm gonna pretend that you guys are the only people that exist, along with Greengimp and PdOe up here on the screen. We do have, that's a lot of spine crawlers for roaches. You don't need this many spine crawlers to deal with a force of roaches. If you need that many spine crawlers, you're doing something wrong. You need roaches to deal with roaches. I mean, the 4 spine crawlers can be good just for added DPS, but 7 of them are just going to get rolled because you're not going to have enough units to be kind of tanky for the spine crawlers themselves, because roaches are much better at being tanky than spine crawlers are. They are. Way better. And we do have Greengimp with the extreme lead as far as food supply goes. He's up, you know, 100%, slightly over 100% at this point, because PdOe does not quite have the 46 supply that would be half of Greengimp's. And honestly, Greengimp could probably just push for the win. And I'm kind of disturbed that I have to say Greengimp so much in this game, because Greengimp sounds like a very dirty name. It sounds very dirty. And I don't know if that's just me, because I've been watching a lot of Arrested Development lately, and there seems to be a lot of gimp jokes in Arrested Development. A lot of leather. Or either that, or I'm just watching the saga where, you know, they go shopping for leather, and Tobias becomes a gimp. But anyway, a little bit of a sidetrack there. We do have PdOe doing basically nothing. I mean, he's getting his own grooved spines. Both players went for Roach Hydra, which is interesting. You typically don't see that in a ZVZ, especially when you have 44 supply, because Roach Hydra is not something you can go for without actually having an army, and that is definitely a situation PdOe is in. He is going for something that requires an army without having an army. He does have +2 ground armor coming up, which isn't awful. I mean, that's a pretty good upgrade. And that's a pretty good upgrade advantage. I think he's at +1, +2, which will be finishing soon. I'm not sure if he actually managed to get +1 ranged attacks. No, he has not. So that's a little bit on the awkward side, especially because he's going for so many Hydras. I'm actually not sure if PdOe is going to be able to hold this, because this is a lot of units, but again, he has 7 spine crawlers. It looks like we are going to have an attempt at a hatchery going down for a PdOe, but it's going to be completely denied by the massive army of Greengimp swinging in here. And it looks like we have some Hydralisk damage going down here, but those spine crawlers are not in an optimal position to fight off this army as they do swing in a nice formation. We do have those spine crawlers finally taking on a lot of the roaches, but again, this is what I'm talking about. If you do not have the roaches to back up your spine crawlers are just going to fall extremely rapidly, purely because of how much target fire can be done to them. And we do have PdOe. That's the game. Basically, I mean, once that kind of thing has been broken into and you have 11 Hydralisks in your opponent's main base, it's going to be hard for you to come back. The forces are reasonably comparable here, but the natural going down, and, you know, that's just a rough situation. You never want your natural to go down in a situation like this. I don't know how long PdOe is going to be able to hang on for. It'll probably be a little while, especially if he goes for this sort of turtley strategy where he gets quite a few spine crawlers. But even then, it's not going to be a good situation in like 45 seconds. It looks like he is trying to pull his opponent up the ramp, which is not a smart idea considering the fact that the spine crawlers aren't done yet. So we're going to see a little bit of engagement going in extremely in Greengimp's favor right here. And that's going to be the end of the game. I don't think there's actually a way for PdOe to take this back, and I would be actually extremely surprised if there was a way for PdOe to take this back. So yeah, that's definitely a game. And then we have PdOe dropping the GG and leaving the game. And how long does this game go on for? Is this one of the games where he just stays until he actually clears up every building? Oh my god, it is. Alright. Well, he left the game. Greengimp, he left the game. The game's even over. Like, there's no structures on the map. He's like looking for the last couple units. Alright, well that was interesting. I'm very glad I ×8'd through the end of that. I would still call that a Gold League level game. The Roach Hydra was an interesting tech decision, but I think Gold League matches that game well. So it is going to be called Gold League Goodiness above. the title of the video. It's going to be very nice. So anyway, guys, if you'd like your games commentated, you can send them on into boisteroussc2@gmail.com. And also, if you would like to watch any other Boisterous action, you can head over to youtube.com/user/boisteroussc2. Also, remember to go check out AOS and MOS over on Ponera86. That is PONERA86. Like the numbers, 8 and then 6. He's doing a lot of cool stuff that's going to be coming out, a lot of collaborations with yours truly, and there's going to be some big news on that channel pretty soon. I don't want to spoil it, but I think it's going to be awesome. It's going to help push everyone up towards the top. I'm really, really excited for it. So anyway, guys, this is Boisterous signing out.